All right, welcome everyone. This is Carlos, your Market Center Tech Trainer for KW Advantage, KW Energy and Experience. Welcome you again for another KW sessions. Today we have a special guest, right, Jamie Lee?
We do. We have Carol Foderick joining, and I would love to be able to introduce her. So Carol is pretty special for many reasons, many reasons. I'm going to highlight some of her career accomplishments, and I want to share a recent story of something she did that touched my heart. So Carol joined Keller Williams looking for an opportunity to really grow her business. And she wanted to create her own team after being on one and in real estate for over 15 years. So before she joined in 2018, she had done 17 deals. And in her first year at KWA in 2019, she had 61 deals completed and 27 million in volume. In 2020, Carol raised the bar even higher and hit 108 deals and 81 million in volume, and making her career growth since joining Keller Williams over 535% growth year over year. Her team was the #1 team for Keller Williams in Canada for 2020 in her gross commission income earned. And year to date, Carol has closed over 128 million in sales. That doesn't include what's pending. On top of that, her heart for giving back is what makes me love her the most. Recently, she sent out an email to get our top 20% to donate to the turkey drive that the Scarborough Food Bank was doing. And in 24 hours, the mighty woman raised over $12,000. So I welcome you to listen to what Carol has to say. She's mighty, she's fierce, and she should not be shy to speak to 100 people. Carlos, I hope on the back end, you're frantically trying to figure out how to let more people into this room. She wants everybody to know today that in this session, it's going to be an unfiltered, raw, real, pull back the curtain type event where you can really just put your hand up and ask her anything. She wants to share everything she's learned along the way regarding her business and the success that she's had. So Carol, why don't you take the stage?
Thank you very much. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. So thank you for that very generous introduction, Jamie Lee. It's funny. I think we're all our own worst critics, and sometimes just hearing someone say kind things about you and paraphrasing them like that makes you stand back and recognize your own accomplishments, which none of us as realtors tend to be very good at doing. So thank you, Jamie Lee. I appreciate that. So a couple of things before I launch into my presentation. You're going to need a few things. This is a working presentation, so a working seminar, guys. My hope for you today is that by the end, you've actually got a clear growth plan for yourselves. And so you're going to need some good old-fashioned technology, including a pen, a blank piece of paper. You're going to need access to your phone and your address book on your phone, but hopefully you're going to stay engaged with the presentation and not actually be doing other things on your phone. And then also we have a printable calendar, which I think Danielle, my assistant, has sent to Carlos and to Joby. And so they're going to share it perhaps in the chat box. So that may be the easiest way. So that if you want to print out the calendar and follow along for the part where we're going to build our marketing calendar, you'll be able to do that. So thank you. And I'll have an opportunity for some questions as we go through, and then also at the very end as well. So let's get started. Jamie Lee already did great job of talking a little bit about my business. It's not just me, the Carol Foderick Real Estate Group. We have 10 full-time people, including 4 salespeople, 2.5 admins, and a full-time stager on our team, as well as an operations manager. So in 2021, year to date, we've written $130 million in transacted real estate, and we will reach $3 million in GCI by the end of the year. Our team works approximately about 96% referral, and I don't pay for any traditional advertising. So no sold cards, no mailers. We're doing this entirely through our databases. I personally work 40 hours a week. I rarely work evenings or weekends, and I take 2 full months off during the year, March and August. I don't door knock, I don't cold call. I will rarely do an open house. And I think the best part is I get to fire the clients who are not really nice to work with. Just sharing a little bit myself personally, I've also used my real estate earnings over the last few years to buy 22 rental units, and I'm about to open my own mega office, my own mega agent office on Kingston Road in Scarborough in a building that I bought earlier this year. So it sounds super impressive, right? It sounds like, you know, as Jamie Lee suggested, I'm special, I'm some kind of a unicorn. And you're probably telling yourself right now, well, that's nice for Carol Foderick, but I can't even imagine owning a business that looks like that, like making $3 million a year. Maybe you're new to this industry, maybe you're not, but you've just never been able to make real traction with your business, or maybe you've just hit a ceiling that year after year you've never been able to break through. So you might be sitting here and you don't know where your next sale is coming from, you've got nothing in your pipeline, and you know that something has to change, but you don't know how to change it or even where to start. So sitting here and listening to someone tell you about how like awesome their life and business is might sound pretty obnoxious. It would to me if I was in that place, if I didn't know where my next deal was coming from. But I'm sharing this with you guys not to try to impress you, but to try to inspire you. Because if I can make the system that I'm going to walk you through today work for me, then you can make it work for me, for yourself. So normally I teach this class in person at the brokerage, and at the end of the session, people get the opportunity to like ask me stuff, as you will guys be able to today. And inevitably always somebody listens to everything that I have to share and they pipe up, and then they start asking me like leading questions about my circumstances and how I got to where I am today. And so the question might sound something like, so what does your husband do for a living? Or what did your parents do? Because, you know, I must be well connected to make this kind of money in real estate, right? Or where did you go to school? Where did you graduate from? Or you must not have kids, right? Because there's no way you could be doing that kind of business with kids. Why do people do this? It's because they're trying to convince themselves that there must be some reason that I and them are somehow different, and that's why they can't be as successful as I can. And in life, I think that the biggest lies we ever tell ourselves are the ones that we say inwardly to ourselves about why we can't do something, or to explain why we've not yet achieved goals. And like, we're salespeople, so we're really convincing, right? If we want to convince ourselves of something, we know exactly how to sell it. We sell for a living. And so you might be saying something to yourself like, well, I can't sell 25 homes a year because I've got small kids at home. Nobody's going to listen to real estate advice that I give because I don't have a university degree. Nobody I know is interested in moving right now, so that's why I'm not selling houses. I need 10,000 followers on Instagram to be able to get a ton of clients, and then I'll sell a bunch of real estate. So I just want to give you guys, I promised you the unfiltered truth about Carol Foderick, because I want you to understand there is really nothing special about me. So my self-depreciating humor is going to come into effect here, but I really want to just kind of share the truth about Carol Foderick. So I am 38 years old. I grew up poor and in an abusive household. I had to drop out of university to support my family. I am only related to 4 people in this world. I didn't marry a wealthy or well-connected person. I started out as a real estate receptionist. I have 2 small kids at home, and I had 2 very high-risk pregnancies. I am an introvert. I'm terrified of talking to all of you guys today, but I'm doing it because I'm trying to grow. I don't know how to post to Instagram, and I avoid people that I know when I see them at the grocery store because I feel awkward talking to them. That's the truth, guys. That's like 92 excuses right there in that paragraph that it would be reasons why I would be failing at life. So just let that sink in, guys. That's the backstory behind the #1 Keller Williams team in the country. That's the backstory behind my little acrylic trophy here. And if that's not enough discouragement for you guys, my very first manager in real estate, when I told her I was thinking about getting my license, told me that she didn't think I had what it takes to make it in real estate. I share that story all the time because I love it. It's my motivation. For real, she told me I should just stay a receptionist. And so why am I telling you this? Because all of us have all of the lies we already need to be successful, why we're not going to be successful in our business. So here's the truth about everyone on this call, including me and including you. We all can work hard to change our businesses one day at a time. That's true for all of us. Secondly, all of us are capable at running multi-million-dollar real estate businesses. Thirdly, we are already in possession of all of the skills, knowledge, and relationships that we need to make that business happen. And most importantly, something that I believe wholeheartedly, we can set goals, we can come up with a plan to achieve them, and that's what we're going to do here today. So what I'm going to be teaching you guys is a step-by-step approach to building a business model on a solid foundation of referrals, which is easy to follow. it results in reliable outcomes, and most importantly, it's scalable. So by about 2:30 this afternoon, if you choose to, you're going to understand how this model works. You're going to know your numbers, and I'll explain what that means. And you're going to have a physical, concrete plan in front of you of how to start. So here we go. So Carlos, I'm going to start sharing my screen now. And where is my presentation? Here we go. Hold on for a second, guys. I'm not the technology person here on the team, clearly. So bear with me for a second.
You should be able to share now. All good?
Yeah, give me a second. Hold on.
So while Carol is loading her screen, I just want to welcome everyone to the Zoom room again. We are now we've increased the room. And so if you have friends that want to join, please just ask them to join and click the link again, and they should be able to join in.
Thanks, Carlos. That's not terrifying to me or anything.
You're crushing it. Also, feel free to visit our YouTube page at KW Advantage Experience, and KW Advantage, KW Energy, KW Experience channel at YouTube for more videos of the same. Like, subscribe, and follow.
Carlos, am I not being able to share this? Hold on for just a second here.
So you want to click share on the middle of your screen and then start sharing.
I'm just looking for my
if you can't see it, press escape. There you go.
I'm just going to share my whole screen. So there you go. Okay.
Perfect.
Everybody see
All
here?
good.
So I want to talk first of all about where real estate clients come from. So we watched this funny video at the beginning, and a lot of people will have different approaches in real estate to figuring out where their clients are going to come from, where their future businesses come from. Most of us are very transactional in nature when it comes to selling real estate. So somebody calls you, you sell their house, but then you're not actually doing any outgoing lead generation to be able to generate new business. But some of us are. And so let's talk about the different approaches that you can take in real estate to generating some new business. So first and foremost, we've got, hold on for a second. Here we go. So first one, internet leads that you buy. I've put these in a specific order because I think in terms of like value of the contact, this one probably ranks somewhere at the lowest. So internet leads, are they real people? Are they not real people? Do they have an agent already? Do they not? We don't really know a lot about these people. They could be contacting you from Brampton or from India. Like you have no idea where they are in the world. It's just a contact that you buy. So low conversion rate in that. I think the numbers I've heard is somewhere around 1 in 200. You might be able to convert into an actual client. Second would be door knocking or cold calling. Nothing wrong with this as an approach. It's labor intensive. It requires you to be on the phone or the auto dialer all day long, or to be out on the streets knocking on people's doors. This is a conventional method of generating leads. And I think from my understanding from the people who do this as a lead generation tool, your conversion is maybe somewhere around 120 to 150 calls somewhere there, or doors that you knock that might actually generate a real lead. So conversion rate there, we go from 200 with the internet leads down to 150, maybe 120, somewhere there. Third, we've got people reaching out to you because of outgoing marketing. So this would be sort of a conventional farm area. So you're putting stuff into a neighborhood, you're sponsoring the local hockey team, you're doing a newsletter that goes door to door, all of those things. Nothing wrong with that. Farming is a big part of our industry, and there's a lot of people doing it well. And then of course, the expectation is that they're going to reach out to you when they're ready to sell something, and they're going to interview you. Now, this is obviously a much higher conversion rate than door knocking or cold calling because they've taken the step of reaching out to you. But it is challenging because you're probably not the only person that they're calling. So they might call, there might be several people farming your neighborhood, and you could get called into a listing interview where you are interviewing against 2 or 3 other agents. And then you have to be concerned about, well, what services am I providing versus what somebody else is providing? What are they charging in commission? What am I? All of these questions, but still a pretty high conversion rate. You might be somewhere in the range of, 1 in 3 or 4. So if they call you, you might, 1 in 3 of those leads, you might convert to an actual client, an actual closed transaction. The fourth one is the one we're going to talk about today. These are referrals that come into you directly from somebody that you know or have worked with. So this is like your grandma's best friend that calls you because she would like to sell her house. And the wonderful thing about getting referrals in is you actually have to work pretty hard to screw that lead up. And that sounds terrible, but it's actually pretty true. So with a conversion rate that we're going to talk about today, you should be somewhere in the range of like 2 to 1 conversion. So you won't get every referral, but for most referrals, if you have a good word of mouth referral from somebody that knows you and trusts you and puts you in touch with somebody that they know and trust, your conversion rate on that is going to be 2 to 1. For me, it's almost 1 to 1 because I've been working like this for a long time. So I've got my scripting and my language down, but it's actually pretty hard to screw it up. I'll give you guys an example. I once went to an evaluation. It was a referral. And I knocked on the door, and it was like Joe and Jane were the sellers. And the person opened the door and they said, "Oh, you must be Jane." It was not, it was Joe. And I was so embarrassed, but the referral was so strong that I actually still got the listing. I was ready to just turn around and go home. I was like, man, that is such a gaffe. Nobody's going to hire me after that. They did anyways, because the strength of the referral was so strong. And so when I'm sitting in someone's living room, or I'm on a buyer's call with somebody that's been referred, we know that the strength of the referral is huge. The person who referred you has already done all of the difficult work for you. They've already said, listen, I know this person, I trust this person, they did a great job for me. And so it's like opening the door for you with a new client. The hard work is already done. There's brand awareness already. And all you have to do is kind of not screw it up. So that's working by referral. Let's get a definition of what working by referral is, or the way that I work by referral and the way that I define it. So generating leads from professional, personal, systemized contact with a database of past clients, friends, and people in your sphere of influence by providing them with valuable information and excellent service with the intention of asking for and receiving referrals and repeat business. So there's a couple of key points in this here as well I want to highlight for you, which is misconceptions about working by referral. So first of all, working by referral, key points. Number one, it includes, your database is including people that you have not yet done business with, but you're perhaps hoping to do business with. So it's not, a database isn't just a list of people that you've worked with in the past or you're currently under contract with. It's people that you have not necessarily done business with. That might include friends, family, people you'd like to do business with, people you know transact a lot of real estate. Those people go into your database. Second, and most important, and this is the one I think a lot of people struggle with the most, is that the information and the customer service comes before the business. And we'll talk about what that looks like. But people often think, well, yeah, I'm just going to do a great job and serve the clients that come my way. The idea is that we're going to turn people from our database who are not currently clients into clients, and then also turn those clients into advocates for us. So the information service comes before the business. And we'll talk about what that looks like. You have to be consistent, you have to be professional, and it has to be personal. So it can't just be one email that was generic that you sent to them, once last May. That was clearly not content that was relative to them or personally addressed to them. That's not going to work. And finally, there has to be an ask in there. So just like any selling, so no different than when you knock on somebody's door, or pick up the phone and cold call them, there has to be an ask in the relationship. Otherwise, there will be no receiving of referrals. And we'll talk about what that language looks like, because it's different than when you're cold calling or door knocking to ask for business. So that's the definition. I love this quote, and I heard it from another salesperson a few years ago, and it really, really sticks in my mind. The cost of advertising is the price you pay for having poor or unremarkable customer service or no follow-up. Let this sink in, guys. Like when you go out and you have to pay for a mailer that goes into an entire neighborhood, and you're paying, $1,800 to send a mailer and have it delivered to an entire neighborhood, that is the cost that you have to pay, because you've not perhaps done a great job of turning your past clients into advocates who would then turn around and become walking billboards, espousing how great of a real estate agent you are and referring them to their friends and families. So when people talk about, well, how much is this program that you're running, Carol, going to cost? The answer is most of it can be done for no cost. So if you're a new agent or you don't have a lot of money in the bank and you're looking for ways to generate a business, but you don't have the capital to be able to go and print flyers and drop them to a neighborhood, the good thing is that everything we're going to talk about today, for the most part, is essentially free, or in some cases, the cost of a stamp. There's other things that you can do, and we'll get into it, that are a little bit more expensive, but for the most part, everything that we're going to do is at no or very, very low cost to you. What do we have next? Working by referral. So this is working by referral represented visually. And we're going to talk through every part of this wheel today and understand exactly what it is. So first and foremost, we're going to add people to a database. Now, many of the people on this call won't have a database, and I'm going to talk to you about how you start it, or perhaps we'll have a database that isn't functioning the way a database should be. But that is number one. You cannot have a working by referral system without a database. You cannot have a real estate business of any kind without a database. That's the reality. So we're going to talk through all of these aspects, but adding people to your database, you can't skip this step. This is absolutely key. We're going to talk about building relationships and giving excellent service. This is how I mentioned to you that the service and the relationship building comes before the referrals or before the business. We'll talk about what that looks like. There's a section here about asking and receiving referrals, acknowledging the referrer, and then finally how to turn a lead into an advocate. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And you'll see me refer back to this slide a few times as we walk our way through this presentation today. So first things first, database creation. What is a database? And this may sound really, really primary for a lot of people, especially you've been in real estate for a long time. But let's talk about it because everybody has a different definition. A database is a structured set of electronic data about your clients and prospects that you can easily access and use to track your contact activity with them. So this is important, guys. A database goes into a CRM. What a database is not is the address book on your phone, which the database is not is your Outlook, contact cards in your Outlook or whatever email service that you're using. You need to have, whether it's a spreadsheet, whether it's a CRM, whether it's command, you need to have all of your contacts for everybody you have ever done business with, people you would like to do business with, in a set place where you can easily pull them up, and you can also track how often you're contacting them or when the last time was you contacted them. Very, very important. A lot of people say database. Yeah, sure, it's in my phone. Your database is not in your phone next to the person that like grooms your pets or whatever, whoever else is in your cell phone. Has to be a structured set of data, and it is going to include phone numbers, including home phones, cell phones, if people still have home phones even, but all phone numbers, email addresses, and a real address of where that person lives. That's what goes into a database, guys. You need those three key points of information, and I'll explain to you why as we go through. Why is a database important? A database allows you to easily systematize contact with your clients to grow your business by generating referrals and repeat clients. This is what we're going to talk about today. And then this I will credit to Barb Best because I heard her say it a few years ago, and it is absolutely true. Without a database, real estate is a hobby and not a business. So if you do not have a real estate database, I'm going to be the booming voice from the sky to tell you right now, you could even be selling real estate every year. You are treating this like a hobby and not a business. And I hope the reason why all 119 of you are on the call today would be because you're here to build a business that returns reliable, sustainable results instead of running your business like a hobby. And without a database, we just don't have a business. So that's why it's important. So who goes into your initial database? So of course, everybody always talks about past clients. So if you've been in real estate for any length of time, you can actually, and you're a Keller Williams agent or you work for another brokerage, you can reach out to your deals department, and they will give you a list of all of your deals for this year, last year, probably several years back. And you can go through that transaction list and make sure that everybody that you've done business with is in your database. That's primary. You should be in touch with everybody that you've ever done business with. From there, you can also go through your emails and look at people who have been signed calls or referrals that you may have received in the past, or anybody else that you've sort of had preliminary conversations with about selling real estate. But let's think beyond that, because a lot of people think, okay, that's a database. It's people that I've interacted with in some way with regards to business dealings. But the reality is we should be thinking about our database more in terms of a sphere of influence. So it's people you interact with on a daily basis. That includes your friends, your family, your neighbors, service providers. So the guy that you call to paint your house, or your plumber, the guy that cuts your grass, past coworkers, or coworkers of a partner. That's a big one. Extended social circles. So the people you see when you go to your kids' soccer games every week. Out of town agents that you've worked with. So somebody who might send you a referral if they were, say, moving from Calgary to Toronto, or somebody you could send a referral to if your clients were going the other way. People you regularly talk to about real estate. If every time you go to the grocery store, the cashier knows that you sell real estate for a living and asks you how the market is, that's somebody that should be in your database. All past clients. So also previous contacts, we talked about that, people maybe you've met in open houses, that sort of thing. And then people on your Stratus distribution list. If you are emailing people listings, they should be in your database. So it could be somebody who's actively working to buy a house, lease an apartment, any of those things, they should be in your database currently. Your initial database should be a minimum of 75 people. So we're going to do a little bit of a brainstorming exercise here in a minute to get your database started, but minimum of 75 people. Why? Because the more you have in your database, the more likely you are to return referrals and repeat business out of that. So it would be very rare for somebody who is, say, living in Toronto or the GTA for an extended period of time, more than 5 years, to not have 75 people in their sphere of influence. If you really think about it, most people know many, many more times than that. And why is it important to have a minimum of 75 people? Because in 1 year from now, if you're going to have 75 people, your database, if reliably and professionally contacted or communicated with, you should be turning somewhere between 7 and 8 deals out of your database. So your database should return, if again you're following these steps that I'm going to show you today, about 1 in 10 or about 10% you should have in closed deals from contacts that you have, assuming that the quality of the contact is good, and we'll talk about that. How much should my database grow annually, and how do I create new contacts? So a healthy database should include at least 1 new contact per week. This is important because in our regular just dealings in life, we're interacting with new people all the time. And especially if we work in an outward facing business like real estate. So you're getting a sign call, you're getting a referral, you're doing an open house and meeting somebody there, even if they're not interested in buying or selling immediately. Maybe the neighbor walks in and you have an opportunity to talk to them about real estate. At least 1 new person a week. Because the reality is that not everybody that goes into your database is going to stay there. And we'll talk about when to delete people as well. If anybody's ever been to the Middle East and they've seen the Dead Sea is dead, nothing lives in it, because nothing goes out of it. So stuff flows in, but nothing flows out. And that's the reason why. So we don't want a database that is dead because we never curate it. Databases are like a garden. You have to have pruning of it. You have to trim it. You have to know when to cut it back. You have to know when to add to it. And just, to continue on with that water analogy, databases need fresh water in and they need water out. And otherwise they're just stagnant, dead cesspools and nothing lives in. So your database needs to grow every year. And ideally it's in the range of about 50 people a year. So somewhere there. And we'll talk about that because it sounds like a lot, but it's really not. So how do you grow your database? So we were fortunate that we were back at a time now where you can host an open house. And that's a wonderful way to meet people. Even if you're not picking up, a potential buyer, for sure. It's like, I call them the Sunday afternoon pot roasters. It's people that show up at your database and they're just doing the house tour of the neighborhood. So people like put their pot roast in and then walk around the neighborhood and look at all the pretty houses for sale. So, but those people are, generally like, they love to talk about real estate and they love to be kept up to date with regards to real estate in their neighborhood. You've got friends and family of clients you meet through transactions. I love this because when we do an access visit and the buyers bring their parents, I love talking to the parents because guess what? The parents own real estate too. The parents know people who are going to transact real estate. So make a new friend at an access visit. Host a party or an info session. I've done both of these in the last couple of weeks. A couple of weeks ago, I had a mom's drop-in, a post-COVID mom's drop-in for the other moms in my neighborhood. And I picked up 24 new new contacts for my database from people that live locally and close to me and already sort of know me. And so I hosted just a really informal like wine and cheese mom's night. Tomorrow, I'm going to be hosting a first-time buyer session in which I sent out an email to my database, encouraging people to invite people who don't own real estate now to join. And we'll talk about what that looks like, but it's a great way to add people to your database. Basic stuff, sign call showings. Sign call showings are an easy one. That's people who are reaching out to you that, you know, don't have representation most of the time. Otherwise, they'd be calling their agent. But basic stuff like make a new friend at a party. Now that we can have parties again, like go talk to somebody that you don't already know. It's pretty simple. And another one I love, converting social media contacts as well. So go through your database, go through your Facebook or your Instagram, and you're like, hey, I know that person. I went to school with them. They should be in my database. Like make a point of not only looking for new relationships, but seeing how you can strengthen existing relationships by putting them into your database. Another question I get asked a lot, when do I delete people from the database? So here's a good suggestion, guys. When you drive by their house and there's some other agent sign on their lawn, it's probably time to take them out of your database. So that's a good indicator. When they get a real estate license, you can have your best client in real estate. When they've got their own license, I'm sorry, guys, bad news. There's no more business in there for you. So you can probably take them out of your database now. When you see their phone number show up on your phone and you cringe, I have, for many years in my business, before I started treating it like a business, this is one that I would deal with often. One of the benefits of being successful is that you can choose who it is you're going to work with. And so if you have somebody from your database, it's like, oh my God, that person, I can't right now. Our businesses are hard enough. That's probably someone you want to take out of your database and not market too aggressively anymore. So now my favorite part, we're going to use our old-fashioned technology. Carlos, I'm going to need some music from you. We have 121 people on this call. I asked you guys at the beginning of this to come up with a blank piece of paper and a pen. And so we're going to do a little experiment. When I teach this class in person, we get a great response. But if you are listening to this right now and you do not have a database, this is where I want you to start. We're going to give you, how long, Carlos? 3 minutes? This is going to be like, I'm going to call it like dialing for dollars. I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes. I want you to do this. I want you to write a number one, write a whole bunch of numbers down on the page, 1 to 30 down on the page. And I want you to start thinking about who should be in your database. If you're just starting and you don't have a database, all the people you know, friends, family, past clients. I don't want complete contact information at this time. I want names. I want like John from Main Street, lady from the dog park. We're brainstorming, guys. It's going to go fast. And at the end of this, I want to find out who can brainstorm the most number of names. I think the last record we had from one of our in-person sessions at the brokerage, somebody did like 46. I want to see it in 3 minutes. I want to see if anybody can brainstorm more than 46 contacts. So don't need email addresses, phone numbers, contact information. That's going to come later. We're just writing out names. Or I'm going to say images of people, but whatever you're going to use to identify who that person is. And we're going to do it in a hurry. So Carlos, what time is it?
We're ready. We have a timer.
All right, we'll do a timer. Okay. So let's give everybody 4 minutes. It's 1:40. Let's go to 1:44 on my Mac time, if that's the correct time. So let's do 4 minutes, guys. And I want to see how many people. Oh, and by the way, the person who gets the most, I'm going to give you a $25 Starbucks gift card. Just to sweeten the deal, so you can drink pumpkin spice lattes.
Okay, ready.
All right, 4 minutes, guys.
3, 2, 1. last 2 minutes. Less than 60 seconds.
I think that's 4 minutes.
Waiting for the sound to conclude. Almost there. Let's give a few more. All right, here we go.
All right, guys, I love seeing that. All the people that had their heads down and were fabulously writing. The JNC Realty, man, you guys were like brainstorming up. I can't wait to see how many people are on your list. Okay, guys, hold up your papers. I want to see who filled a page. Pipe up. Who's got some records? Look at all the papers. I'm so excited. Okay, who did? Put up your hand if you did. If you got more than 20. Lots of people did more than 20. Anybody more than 30? Sue. Who's Sue? Put 80 people. Which Sue is that? Is that Sue Anfang? Lauren Morton had 79. Guys, I just want to tell you, like when somebody's putting in 80 contacts to their database, and you follow through this program that we're going to talk about, that's 8 closed transactions by this time next year. I just want to put that into perspective for you guys. So, wow, a lot of people putting a lot of numbers down. Does anybody have greater than 80, or is Sue our winner today? And which Sue is it? Does anybody know?
Sue, unmute yourself.
Sue.
Say hello.
I'm assuming it's Sue. Well, we have a lot of Sues, I feel like. So we'll wait for Sue to mysteriously.
Oh, I'm right here. Sorry, my speaker wasn't working. But
which
yeah.
Sue is this? Sue, what's your last name?
Young.
Sue Young. How many years have you been in the business, Sue?
Just starting out 1.
Amazing. Sue, by this time next year, if you follow this program, that's 8 transactions. So 8 of those people that you put of your 80 are likely to do business with you. So that's exciting. So Sue, you can, unless anybody has more, you can pipe up in the chat. Sue, you are the proud recipient of your $25 Starbucks card. And so what are we going to do with this next? You guys are going to be putting this information into your databases, and then you're going to flush it out with information about their other contact information. So now you need to populate it with phone numbers and email addresses in real addresses, so that the contact system can work. So I want to ask everybody else a question in the chat really quickly. Does anybody know what the #1 reason is people change real estate agents? So maybe in the past, if you've been in real estate for a few years, you've had a great transaction with somebody and it was like hugs all around and you did a great job for them and you sold their house and it was a big number and they were really happy and you felt really good about it. And then like a couple of years later, you drove by their house and there was somebody else's for sale sign on their lawn. Does that happen to anybody ever? Yeah, or you're on MLS one day and you click on a listing and you're like, hey, I know somebody who lives on Beresford in Bloor West Village. And then you realize it's your client's house. Yeah, it happens. What do we think is the number one reason why people change real estate agents? Lack of communication, lack of follow-up, no follow-up. These are all good answers. Carlos, we're going to play the other video, the Joe on the Street video. So if you can tee that one up, and it's about 4 minutes. So Joe, as Carlos is getting it ready, I'll introduce the video. Joe Nigo is a sales trainer out of the United States. He's from Chicago. I love his selling style. He makes me laugh all the time. And so this was like a little video he did where he interviewed random people on the streets of Chicago. I think the video is probably about 10 or 15 years old. You can tell by the way people are dressed, but the principles of what it is he's talking about are holding true. So Carlos, when you're ready, you can share that video. Yeah. This is a great time while you're watching this video, guys, to continue to try and brainstorm with people for your list.
Hey everybody, Joe Nigo here, hitting the streets of Chicago, talking with people, talking with the marketplace, getting people's perceptions of and their experiences with real estate agents. What's your opinion of real estate agents?
I think there are too many of them.
It's kind of like politicians. You hate them all but yours.
I wouldn't say they're dishonest, but I think you have to be careful.
They're shady.
They're necessary evil.
Like they're after the quick sale.
Yeah, I mean, they're okay.
They don't follow up. Whatever they tell you at closing ain't gonna happen the next time.
They want to sell stuff. They want to make money.
Mainly, they're really good. They're helpful.
Some of them are okay, I think.
Well, my husband's a real estate agent, so I'd say fairly positive. She was married to him.
You were married? Not anymore?
No.
Must have been a bad agent.
Yeah.
What's your opinion of real estate agents?
Varied.
Positive. They've helped me. They have their own self-interest at heart. They're next to lawyers, and a lot of them in our books.
Real estate people in general, neutral.
They have a job to do. They have a knowledge that I don't generally have information available to me, and I use them as a resource.
If you were to look for a real estate agent today, how would you go about finding that person?
I would ask friends.
I want that personal assurance that this person is reputable and that they've had a good experience.
It's mostly referrals. I've got mine now from a referral.
How did you find your real estate agent?
It was actually referred from a friend of mine.
Recommendation from people I know.
I knew of her history, and I know other people that have bought from her or with her. We met her through a referral to us.
Maybe start with referrals, but then I'd talk to a couple.
Is this live?
No, this is not like the Oprah show or anything.
I don't know. We could be on TV.
Oprah. You get Oprah in England?
Yeah, all right.
It's not Oprah. If you were to give a real estate agent advice on how to build their business and take care of a client and get referrals, what advice would you give them?
I just be personable.
Really be more of a people person and not a pushy salesperson.
To be a good listener and try to understand what the client wants and then help them fulfill their needs.
The good ones will call you back and see if you're happy, if you need anything, if you were just happy with their services.
Follow the golden rule, treat others as you'd want to be treated, and be honest and ethical and upfront.
Be truthful with the client, and that's the main thing.
Develop a personal as well as professional relationship, because again, in this business, referrals and having a good professional aura keeps you in business. It works well with people.
I think that we all have desires and needs a little bit deeper than money, so to focus on that I think would be something interesting. At least it would make me feel a lot better with my real estate agent.
We got a really great real estate agent now that's helping us with maintenance and things like that. He's like, I know the area, and he's very proactive, and he does stuff like, I'm going to do this at my house. Do you want me to just get an estimate for your new house too?
I had a great experience with my real estate agent. It's like a friend now. He's worked with all three of my friends now, and he pretty much is, obviously I found him and then we became friends, and because of his relationship with me and how I had a good experience with him, now he gets more business. If I have any questions about the house or
that I'll just shoot him an email and he emails me right back and everything.
Christmas cards, calendar every year, that sort of thing.
She sent cards at Christmas, and I believe we got a birthday card as well, my wife did.
She'll call every once in a while just to say hello and ask about what's going on with us and the family. And
So you feel like
she's developed a personal relationship with us.
She could do whatever she wanted, send us calendars or wreaths, candy, bottles of champagne, whatever, things that she's done in the past. But we wouldn't go back to her just because I just don't think that she was forthcoming to us in all of the dealings that we had with her.
Do you own your own home?
Yes.
How long ago did you buy it?
About 7 years ago.
Do you remember your real estate agent's name?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
No, I don't. Wait, yes, I do.
No, I don't.
Why is that?
I couldn't tell you. Probably so busy working hard to pay for it now.
I just bought another house 2 years ago. They still ain't come back to me.
Do you remember your real estate agent's name?
No. No, I know it was a woman.
How long ago did you buy that house?
1988.
Do you remember your real estate agent's name?
Yes.
No.
No.
I know what she looks like, but I don't remember her name. I bought it in 1995.
Do you remember your real estate agent's name?
I would have to look it up.
If your agent did a great job, would you refer your agent?
Yes.
Yeah.
But you can't remember their name.
No.
No.
How can you refer them then?
Well, there you have it, folks. The marketplace has spoken. We've discovered how people are looking to find a real estate agent. They're looking for a referral. They're looking through family members and friends. So I have a question for you. Do your clients remember your name? And what are you going to do differently?
There we go. Okay, hopefully everybody found that. Kiki, I see your question. I'll answer it at the end if you're good with that. So thank you. So let me go back to sharing my screen here for a second. Where am I? Okay, so I want to kind of just highlight what it is that we were talking about, guys, in this video. What was the takeaway? So what's the number one reason why people change real estate agents? The number one reason, guys, is that they simply forgot about you. That's the reality. When I'm sitting in a listing presentation and it's somebody that I know has, bought their house in the last, say, 5 years, one of the questions that I will ask them is, you had an existing relationship with a real estate agent, and why didn't you tell me about it? What did you like? What did you dislike about it? So, I mean, obviously for me as an agent, I'm trying to, not step into the same pitfalls. If they say they didn't communicate with me enough, then I know that, there's somebody that likes to be communicated with a lot. But the flip side is, but the reason why I ask is because I want to understand what the nature of the relationship is and why they're not choosing to go back to that agent again. And the number one answer that I get far and away, I would say better than 80%, and I'm sure this is true for other agents that ask this question, is that, yeah, we have great experience. It's just never really heard from, like, why would I? Like, that was that transaction, like no relationship existing with them. Amanda Whitten, who was on my team, had a great conversation with somebody recently who lives on her street, and she invited them to an event at her house, and that person had bought real estate recently within the last 2 years with another agent at our brokerage, and that person that she invited actually asked Amanda whether or not that person was still selling real estate because they had not heard from them in 2 years. And that, I think, really speaks to the fact is, like, this wonderful quote that we judge ourselves by our intentions, but we judge others by their actions. And so for you think you had this wonderful experience with them, and of course they would come back to you, and why wouldn't they? You did a great job for them. You had a great relationship. But the reality is that they have either simply forgotten about you, or the other one is that they feel that you somehow, got your money, you got your giant commission check, and then you forgot all about them. It sounds terrible, but I'm going to be very frank with you guys. Selling a house to somebody, and then, because we're all adults here, so this is going to be a little bit not G-rated, let's put it that way. Selling real estate to somebody and then never contacting them again is the same as picking up somebody at a club, sleeping with them, and then never calling them again. That's the reality, guys. Regardless of what your approach to business is, it's the way that we're received or perceived by the marketplace, and the perception when you never call somebody again is that you just didn't care about them that much. And it's the number one reason why you are losing clients, why any of us are losing clients. Because I am not, I will be the first to put in my hand to say I'm not 100% retention rate. When I lose a client, I can look at that client contact and say, wow, when was the last time I actually spoke to that person in person, face to face? And sometimes it's been months, sometimes it's been a year. So and when I'm behind on my contacts, I can almost always look back at it and say, yeah, that's why. I mean, when's the last time I showed up in service to them? Why would I expect them to call me back? So guys, it's the biggest reason why people are losing clients. And so the fortunate thing about the situation that we find ourselves in today is we are in the biggest referral economy of all time. So never in the history of modern economics have we been in a situation where referrals are more easily given. And I want to explain that. How many of you went onto Facebook today or Instagram and saw what somebody you went to high school with was eating for breakfast and saw them raving about where they ate, or had them saw somebody posting a positive review about the person that came in to clean their carpets, or went and got a fabulous sweater at a store on Queen Street and posted about where it came from? We are at a time where people are willing and comfortable sharing referrals at a greater rate than has ever happened before. In the past, there was no medium for this. So before social media, if you wanted a referral, maybe you'd be at a party and say, oh, I know that you just bought a house, who would you use? Who are you, would you refer that person? Were you comfortable with them? Today, you can scroll onto your social media news feed and see somebody holding a for sale or holding a sold sign in front of their house, and that is the best testament that you can possibly get, because they're basically saying, look, I was happy with this person's service, they did a great job, call my friend, and they'll put like at Carol Foderick Real Estate Group or whatever, and it's never been easier. Now the flip side of that is it's never been easier to also give negative reviews, and it's easy to say negative things about people when you're hiding behind a computer screen. So you have to be that much better at your customer service. When I'm meeting with a new client, whether it's a buyer client or a seller client, and I explain the way that I work by referral, and that's why they're never going to see my picture on the side of a bus, I explain to them that when you work by referral, you live or die by your customer service experience. So if you're going to follow this method to work, then you need to be the person who's going to return emails, that's going to return phone calls, that is going to stay top of mind with your clients, because otherwise they will go to somebody else. If you're not providing great customer service to your clients, somebody else will. That's the short answer. So how does our database full of people, which now hopefully you guys have populated with dozens and dozens of new contacts, how does that generate leads? Well, it generates leads by turning contacts into advocates, by building relationships and providing excellent customer service and information to them, and then in turn asking for referrals. And before we discuss exactly what that content is, I want to just quickly discuss what the contact ratios are. And this will make sense when I show the slide. So bear with me for a second. I'm just going to share my screen. Where's my PowerPoint? Here we go. Can everybody see that? Let me go back to presentation mode. Carlos, what am I doing wrong here? Oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay, so let's calculate our contact ratio. So now we have, say, 100, just use a round number, 100 people in our database. So here's the reality. For every 60 contacts, you're going to generate one referral. And we'll explain what a contact is in a minute. But for every 60 contacts, you're going to generate a referral. For every 3 referrals, you are going to end up with 1 closed transaction. So what that means is that for every 180 contacts, a closed transaction should result. Now I start with this 60-to-1 ratio because as you get into it, it's going to take time to build up your database. It takes approximately 14 points of contact in order to generate a brand awareness where people will easily recall your contact, your name, and the idea that they should be referring you to they should be referring you to other people that they know for real estate related matters. It also takes some time for them to build up the confidence in your skill level, especially if you are a new agent. You need to start showing up in service and showing them that you are skilled and knowledgeable at what you're doing. So I start out with a contact ratio of about 60-1, but the reality is once you get this down, your contact ratio will fall a lot. So for me, after having practiced this program for the last 60 years, I'm calling about 18 people to generate one referral. And then also my referral to close rate is lower. It's about 2-1. So for me, every 36 contacts is resulting in a closed transaction. But for somebody that's newer to the business or hasn't had a lot of contact with their database in the past, you're going to start somewhere around 60-1. So just by extension, if we want to do 50 sales and there's 180 contacts per sale, we're going to need 9,000 contacts per year. That sounds like a lot, but we're going to break it down. But say you have 350 relationships, that means 25 contacts per year per relationship, or approximately 2.5 a month, 2 a month, somewhere there. That sounds like a lot, but again, we're going to break it down and you're going to see that it's actually not. So say you're starting out, you want to do 12 sales, and we know that that we need about 180 contacts per sale. We need 2,160 contacts per year. And if you have 100 relationships, that means 22 contacts per year per relationship. That's the math, guys. When we talk about knowing your numbers, these are the numbers you need to know. How many contacts per referral? How many referrals per closed transactions? How many transactions do you want to do? So that when I sit down and do my business plan in the last week of December, which is when I plan for my next year, I already know likely how many deals I'm going to do, or at least not less than that number of deals based on the number of contacts that I plan with my database for next year. So pretty straightforward. We talked about this already. What's the number one reason why people change real estate agents? Because they forgot about you. Number one reason, they simply forget about you. So if you're contacting somebody that you've done business with 2.5 times a month, you're likely not to be forgotten. I think we can all agree with that. Oh, there was our Joe on the street. So here we go. Let's talk about what it is that we are providing to people, what we're providing to people that is going to turn them from just a contact into an advocate or a repeat customer so that they don't forget about you. So this is from going back to this wheel. This is the building relationships and giving excellent service. So here we go. So first thing we're going to do is build a client appreciation program. And there's an intro month to this. So in the chat box, you would have received a link that was posted to be able to print a 12-month calendar. Does everybody see that? Carlos, did we share that with everybody? Let me just go back to chat.
Yep, we did. We're just going to share it again. And
yeah, we've given a 2021 calendar and then a 2022 calendar. So if you're at your desk right now, you can print this, and I'm actually going to walk you through populating it so that you can see exactly what that looks like. But let's say, for example, you've now spent the better part of the next few days populating your database, and now you've got phone numbers, email addresses, and real snail mail addresses for people, and now you're ready to start communicating with them. The first thing that we're going to do is send an email to them. So there is what we call the client appreciation email, and I'm going to give you a script or a template that you can follow in the next slide. So we're going to send an email to people. Email, we know, is the least effective method of communication because it's easily deletable. All of us are receiving, I know in my email address, sometimes I'm getting 300 or 400 emails a day. A lot of it is marketing. And so you may not get a 100% open rate on your emails, but the reality is sometimes just seeing the name in your email, even before you delete the email, it keeps you top of mind awareness. If anybody ever shops at Bath and Body Works and they have your email address, you will know that you probably get 5 emails a day from those people. It's bordering on obnoxious. So I'm not suggesting that you are contacting your people that often, and you're not always going to contact them in the same way, and that's important. But we do need to get to that 2.5 contacts per month to be able to get a transaction out of them. So first thing you're going to do is send an email explaining what it is that why it is they're hearing from you and what it is that you can do in terms of offering service. And I'll give you a, oh, hold on for a second. There we go. And I'll give you the template of what that looks like. The second is that we are going to follow up with a personal note and either a business card or a magnet. So a personal note looks like this for all of you millennials who don't know about real mail. This is a personal note. These are the ones that I send. It's got my business card and my magnet inside. And I'm going to write a personal note in this that might sound something like, hi, Sue, I just wanted to follow up on the email that I sent you. If you didn't know, I'm selling real estate. If there's ever anything I can do to be of service to you or someone that you know, I'd love to help. Something like that. It's a personal note. Hope you're doing well. Happy New Year, whatever. Personal note. They're getting it in the mail. An email is easily deletable, but the idea of getting something in your mailbox that is hand addressed to you, that shows up in your mailbox being thrown away without being opened is it won't happen. They're going to open it. They're going to read it. That's the reality. And then finally, you want to follow up with a phone call. So, and that's just going to be like, hey, Sue, anyways, I sent you something in the mail. I just want to let you know, like, if there's ever anything that I can do to, be of service to somebody that, I'm here to help. There's no hard ask in there. Well, there's an ask, but it's not like, Sue, who do you know that's about to sell real estate? Do you know of anybody who recently, like, their grandmother died and I could sell their house? That's not what we're asking them. We're going to talk about how to nuance the ask towards the end of this presentation. But we want to first establish a point of contact. Now, just on a side note, the intro email, you can send it as a static email, and this is what it looks like. Where's our next page here? Hold on. This is what the email sample looks like, and we can make this available after the fact because I think we're going to share this presentation with anybody who wanted it. This is what it looks like. It's a little bit about what the client appreciation program is, why it is that you're reaching out to them, why it's of value that you stay in touch with them, how they're going to value from this relationship. And then you see at the bottom, there's what we call the ask is here at the bottom. If you know somebody who appreciates the level of service that I provide, please call me with their name and business number, and I'll be happy to follow up and take great care of them. That's the ask. That's the ask for referral, but we'll get to that in a minute. Then we're going to build a 12-month marketing calendar. So this is a picture of what mine looked like this morning. Just so you guys know, the green stripies on the calendar were preset points of contact with the database that we have fulfilled. So when I sent out my monthly video to them, I highlighted it in green. The pinks and the blues are sales, guys. So you'll notice if I showed you the calendar from the year before that because we're in a 30, 60, 90-day business in months where I am heavily pink. So here, for example, that's like, February, March, April. If you could have looked at my last year's marketing calendar, you would have seen that the months of November, December, January were big contact months because it takes us that long to generate a point of contact into a referral and a referral into a transaction. So all of those sales that happened in March and April and May, specifically, a lot of those were the result of the lead generation that I did at the end of Q4 in 2020. And we'll talk about why this is the most important quarter of the year for everybody on this call shortly. But that's what a 12-month marketing calendar looks like. And so if you've had an opportunity to print yours, we're gonna work on it. We're gonna work on it together. So digital marketing. So how do we get to that 2.5 or 5 points of contact with our database every single month? What we're going to talk about today is predominantly free stuff, but then I'll mention also stuff that you can do that costs a little bit of money that is worth it. So digital marketing, for the most part, free things that you can do with your clients. Monthly, this is what we're doing with mine, because I told you at the beginning of the call, I was going to tell you exactly how I was communicating with my own database. This is what we're doing. On the first of the month or the first Monday of the month, I record a video in a program I use called Co-Video. It's me sitting at the desk, just like I'm sitting here now. I'm recording a video talking about the market update, what's new in real estate, what are the trends that we're seeing, what's happening with the economy. It's like 3 to 4 minutes long, and I email it to my database. The open rate is not 100%, but I get about 30, 35%, which is actually pretty high for digital marketing if you look at stats across the industry. But I'm sending a video to our database. So I know at least once a month, if I haven't had a chance to call them or I haven't had a chance to transact real estate with them, they have seen my face in a real video at least once that month. So video to your database, it costs you nothing to do this. You can send it out the first day of the month. So if you're right now writing out and populating your calendar, you can, the way that I showed you with my calendar here, you can see that on the first of the month, you see I have video written in, that's the video. So that's what you're sending out. Number 2 is an item of value. So item of value will change month by month. Sometimes for me, the item of value would be information about like a new home buyers program. So if, or I'll give you an example. There was a green energy credit announcement they made a couple of months ago. And so we sent out information about how homeowners could get their house energy audited and apply for the grant through the government. Sometimes if there is information, like during COVID, we sent out information about how to defer your mortgage payments for 6 months if you were interested in doing that. The item of value isn't necessarily you selling anything, it's you showing up in service and trying to provide them good information. In the years when the MPAC reassessments come out, I get a lot of calls asking for people to provide information about recent sales in their neighborhood so that they can fight their MPAC assessments. It gives me an opportunity to connect with them, but also we got so many requests that we started doing it as an item of value in that month. So if you want to appeal your MPAC assessment, here's the form to fill out and here's how you do it. We just send out a little email, just generally stuff like that. So item of value, something every month that we find. Here's an article that might be interesting to you about, the neighborhood that you live in, whatever, it's an item of value. I also send out once a month a static market watch email. So as you know, the Toronto Real Estate Board included in our membership has that great video that is prepared by, I don't know if it's Jason Mercer anymore, but it's like a little 2-minute video talking about market trends and they give you the language. I literally just cut and paste it into my email and it goes out to everybody. And so I'm sending 1 email a week to my database. The 4th email is an email where it talks about listed, solds, and wants. This is a great way because as you know, everybody loves to see, what stuff sold for and 100% over market value and stuff like that. I'm fortunate that I work on a team where we transact a lot of real estate. And so we promote all of our listed, sold, and properties for lease. But we also started including a note in there about what our clients were actively looking for. And the reason why we do that is because it gives people the opportunity to forward the email to somebody that might know. They're like, oh, look, they have a buyer that's looking for a 4-bedroom house in the beach. And I have a friend who's been talking about selling and she has a 4-bedroom house in the beach. So that email gets forwarded or passed along a lot. Or sometimes, because the email sometimes circles back around to me if somebody's asking a question about one of the listings and I'll see what the banter was between them. Sometimes I'll be like, oh my God, can you believe this house sold for X? So listed, solds, and wants email, again, no cost to you for sending this out, guys. All it does is take a little bit of energy or effort. We also started doing a $25 giveaway every month if people could guess what a particular house sold for. So we put in a price, we give them some descriptors about the house, and then we give them the opportunity to guess the price. And we did this for the first time a couple of months ago. My goodness, we probably had 35, 40 entries from the database. And why that's great is, I mean, for me, it was only $25, right? Or whatever the gift card was we gave away, but it allowed me to enter into dialogue with people in a way that they initiated. So for example, Robin, who I sold a house to 3 years ago, emails back and says, oh, I think that house sold for $1.7 million. And I got the opportunity to respond back and be like, oh my God, great guess, Robin. I'll let you know next week. Also, how are your kids? Did they go back to school? And it allows me to engage in organic dialogue with them. And keep me top of mind. So that was an easy one. These are the digital marketing points. So right there alone, guys, is 4 points of contact per month with your email database. So assuming that everybody that you send to opens these, and assuming that you've got people in your database and the email addresses are correct, that alone is enough to generate 10% of the referrals. I could stop this presentation there and you guys would all find value and would all do business just by staying in constant professional communication with these people. So you can see that it's not all been real estate heavy. Some of it has been about the market. Some of it, I've tried to find a way to show up in service to them through my item of value. And then I kind of made it fun with the giveaway so that they find that there's a reason to stay on the mailing list and continue to get these responses. If I did nothing else, this would be the basis for a great business. It is more than what 95% of the agents are doing out there, which is selling a house and then forgetting about their clients who never hear from them again. If you did only this, all of which is free, you would still be way ahead of the game. But let's talk about what other options. Oh, and then annually, sorry, I just want to point out, I also do something called a nosy neighbor program. So all of us have clients that love to email us and be like, hey, what did the house across the street sell for? Hey, what did the house 3 streets over sell for? We actually set up a nosy neighbor program. So if people want to receive emails with listing notifications for their neighborhood, either after their sale or just because they're nosy, we allow them to do that. And then because, as you know, when you export information from Treb, it only sends you for sale listings. It doesn't sell you the solds. We can then circle around with them at the end of 2 months or a 3-month period and send them all of the solds from the same pocket. And we call it the nosy neighbor update. So we do that annually, and they get maybe 3 or 4 updates from us a year. And again, it's a point of contact. It also, those nosy neighbor emails get forwarded a lot. So when I'm sending the nosy neighbor out to people, then they will often pass along to people they know that are looking for houses. And then I get an email back from the person who they forward it to indicate that they're interested in seeing the house. So it's super helpful. A big part of mine is mail marketing. And this is great because although not everybody opens their email, everybody opens their mail that comes to their house. There's just no question about it. So I used to do a monthly newsletter that went out to my clients. When the price of stamps increased from like whatever it was, 46 to 85 cents or whatever it is now, I think it's over $1. It became less cost effective to do that for a database, which at that time was like 300 or 400 people. So instead, I decided to mail a magazine to the entire database 4 times a year. So Design Lines is a magazine that gets stamped with a price that I think is like $8.95 or $7.95 on the cover, but it can be bought directly from this manufacturer or from this printer for 50 cents a copy. So it's local, it's Toronto or GTA based. It doesn't feel like a free magazine. It actually feels like you're picking up a copy of like Toronto Life or, you know, Architectural Digest or something. It is heavy in the ads, but it also has really great articles. And so 4 times a year, I will send out this copy of Design Lines to my entire database. I put a sticker on it that says compliments of the Carol Foderick Real Estate Group. And I can't tell you how often I go to people's houses and I see these magazines sitting on their coffee table for months and months and months. I also preface the Design Lines magazine with a letter, which talks about the what the market is doing, and then references something in the magazine as well, like, oh, and usually a call to action in it. So for example, a few issues ago, they had a discussion about laneway housing, and I made a reference to in the letter and said, you know, there's a great article about laneway housing in this magazine. If you're interested in understanding whether or not you can build a laneway suite, either for rental potential or for additional living space for you and your family, reach out to me. I'll be happy to put you in touch with somebody that can answer those questions and talk to you about how that's going to change the value of your home. So again, it was a call to action, providing service and giving them the opportunity to reach out to me as well. If you were going to take this one farther and you were going to start calling your database, and we'll talk about that in person or phone calls, because you should be calling them regularly too. This magazine also provides a great point of reference to talk about. Like, hey, Sue, how are you? Nice to chat with you again. I feel like I haven't talked to you in 100 years. Anyways, I mailed you a copy of Design Lines, but I wanted to reach out to you specifically because I don't know if you know this, but that house that I sold you like 3 years ago that you're renting out, it has a garage and it might meet the criteria for being able to build a laneway house on it now. And that's changed recently. So if that's something that you're interested in talking about, like, let's sit down and have a meeting, because I think that might add tremendous value for you. So it provides a great talking point if you're going to follow up the mail marketing with a phone call. We also do anniversary and birthday cards. This is like information that we get anyways, guys, from our FinTrack, or you're getting notifications from people in your database on Facebook that it's their birthday. Put like a card in the mail with an 87-cent stamp in it, and people love getting them. And again, I get an email from people being like, oh my God, Carol, thank you so much for the birthday card. My husband forgot it was my birthday, but I'm so impressed that you remembered. And what's the cost of it? I don't know, $1, literally. The other thing that I know some agents do that I get actually from an agent in Palm Springs that I worked with, she actually makes a note and sends like a video through her phone and like of my birthday, and she sings happy birthday to me and then texts it to me, and I get that. It costs nothing, guys. If you want to save on the $1 mailing stamp, Great. Text a happy birthday message to somebody. It's a point of contact with somebody in your database. And of course, anniversaries. I mean, the anniversary of the purchase of their house. You know what their closing date was. Send them a card to be like, I hope it's been, a great first year in your house. If there's anything I can do to help, just please reach out to me. Mail marketing as well, thanking referrals and business opportunities with a gift card. We'll talk about what that looks like in a minute, but you should always be putting something in writing, a sincere, personal, heartfelt note, very important. Annual campaigns, there's Design Line magazine. I do it 4 times a year. We also do full CMAs in the summer months. So the entire database in July and August will get a letter about the state of the market and then printed copies of the sales of the sold properties in their neighborhood. Much the same way as you get an update from your financial advisor with regards to your the value of your investments, we're providing an update to our clients with regards to it, with regards to the value of their investment in general terms. You're not going to do a full-on evaluation for their house every single year. That would be hugely time constraining, especially when you get up to 400 people in your database, but you can provide them information on solds and a general understanding of where they're at the market, so that you stay top of mind with them. And then the other thing too, that I do every single January, and I post about this on Facebook. So if you follow me on Facebook or Instagram, you'll see this all the time, is that every year, the first week of the year, I take an opportunity to write a personal thank you note to everybody that I have done business with in the last 3 years. So whether it was a lease transaction, a buy, a sell, a referral, I start the year in a thankful way. I call it my gratitude blitz. And I sit there and I write personal notes. It's a wonderful way to keep ourselves grounded, to remind us that our clients are the reason why we're successful, and to show up in gratitude to the people who are responsible for making our business, what it is. So usually the note will start off with 2021 behind us. I just wanted to have an opportunity to thank you again for your past business or your support of my business. It's people like you that make it possible. And I'm so grateful to consider you not only a client, but as a friend. I hope, from my family to yours, I hope you have a wonderful new year, Carol. That's what the note says. Cost me $1 to mail it. And I get people who call me and they are crying when they read my note, because personal thank you notes have kind of fallen away, but the value of them has not. People still really appreciate getting them. Taking the time to write something personal in your own hand really resonates with a lot of people. So my gratitude blitz. And then of course, the theme of today's discussion. So pot buys. So these are peeps. Does anybody know what a peep is? A peep is a marshmallow chicken. They're very popular in the United States. They are indestructible. So I mail these to my clients, but you could also pop by to see them. And when I say pop by, I mean, you're going to go to their house and you're going to knock on their door. And it's got a fun little tag on it. Have your peeps call my peeps. Oh, by the way, I'm never too busy for your referrals. These cost me, I think they're $1.25 at Dollarama, plus it cost me $2 to mail them. So for $3.50, I send them to people. People post these all over their social media. I get pictures of them with their kids eating the peeps. I get people who make peep recipes and send me pictures of what they made with the peeps. They're a big thing in the States. They're a little hard to find here, but it is an annual campaign that I do every year. And to the point where people will email me when are the peeps coming? So for the cost of, what is it, $3 a person, I mail them the peeps. They get it, reminds them that I do business. And it's a big takeaway for me. I get a lot of business. I sold a house yesterday on Mystic Avenue at Danforth and Danforth, and they were clients of mine, referrals. And I met them at an access visit for friends of theirs that were buying a house. I put them in my database. I mailed them peeps last year. They thought it was the coolest thing ever. She posted it on social media. And then this year she called me to sell her house, and it was a $1.7 million sale and a $1.3 million buy. And it was generated out of a box of $1.25 peeps, marshmallow chicken. So that's the name of the course today, guys. But I want to talk to you a little bit about pot buys in particular, because we are actually at a time of the year where the pot buys are not only most effective from a strategic business planning point of view, but also are going to be tremendously well received by your clients. So we are entering into the holidays at this time, and I can think of no better time than Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever holiday it is that you or your clients are celebrating, or just the spirit of the season, forget the religious aspect of it, to drop by and see your clients. And I want to share a personal story with you guys because for me, I started working this system about 6 years ago. So I'll share a personal story. As Jamie Lee mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, I was I worked in real estate for many, many years, doing many things. I started as a receptionist, became an unlicensed assistant, then a licensed assistant, then a buyer's agent, then a team leader. And I was 6 years ago, I was next month, the end of November, I was 9 months pregnant with my daughter. I was working 70, 75 hours a week, making really good money. I was probably making a couple $100,000 a year, but it was killing me to do it. I was literally working 7 days a week. I had my marriage to my husband was, I won't say in jeopardy, but it was not what it is now because I was just not spending the time and energy that I should have been to nurture that relationship. And it was, 3 weeks before Christmas. And I'm thinking about the fact that I'm going to give birth like imminently, like anytime after the new year. And how was I going to go back to work? I'm going to have a newborn. There's no mat leave at this time for independent salespeople. And to be sure, even what's offered now is pretty laughable. It's not a true mat leave in the way that employees get them. And I really wasn't sure what to do. I went to a sales training seminar that talked about working by referral. And I took two things away from that seminar. One was an appreciation for the fact that I was not treating my business like a business and I was not staying in contact with my clients regularly enough that I was likely to receive any referrals back from them and maybe not even repeat business because they were forgetting about me. But that I was not showing up in gratitude to my clients either. So I sat in the back of the seminar and it was at like the Toronto Convention Center. I was at the Congress Center up by the airport. And I sat in the back and I was 9 months pregnant. And I was like, what am I going to do to turn my business around? Because I can't work 70 hours a week. And even though the money is great, like I'm killing myself and it's not going to be sustainable once I have a baby. And so one of the takeaways was do pop buys at Christmas time. So if you guys take nothing else away from this in terms of what you're going to do, I want to share with you that the single most significant thing that I have done to grow my business would be the Christmas pop buys. So that first year, being 9 months pregnant and it being 3 weeks before Christmas, I reached out to a client of mine who I knew like had a home bakery. She made like cupcakes for people and they were pretty and cheap and they were like $10 a box. And I had her do 40 boxes of cupcakes for me and I picked them up from her. And I brought them home. I put them on the dining room table. And my husband's like, are you crazy? Like you're 9 months pregnant. You're going to go around and deliver 40 boxes of cupcakes. And I said to him, and I was wrapping them and writing like little Christmas cards and thank yous to my database. I didn't even have a database at that time. I sat there and made a database as I was creating the labels for the cards. And I said to him, don't laugh, in one of these $10 boxes of cupcakes is going to be a $25,000 commission check. I just don't know which one out of the 40 pop buys that I was doing. And I can look back 6 months after that and see that that's when my business exploded. When I go to do my Christmas pop buys now, it's a very different process than the 40 boxes of cupcakes. I now order, I just put in my Christmas order for this year. Between my team and I, we're going to do 600 pop buys. I'm going to pop by every single person in my database. I not only generate so much goodwill and happiness for my clients who are so thrilled to see me at their door with something, not asking for anybody, just not asking for anything, just like, here's some brownies, Merry Christmas. They are so thrilled and happy to hear from me. That they think of me in a positive light all throughout the year and have actually now come to expect it now that I've been doing it for 6 years in a row. But second of all, I do so much business at the door that January, I already have my January pipeline filled. I knock on the door of a client and I'm like, oh, Sharon, how are you? I'm just here to wish you guys a Merry Christmas. Here's some cookies. I hope you guys are well. Have a happy holiday. And she'll say, oh my God, you know what? I just had a conversation last week with like my son and his girlfriend to think about buying a condo. Do you think you could help with that? Yes, boom. Guess what? It's a buyer client. Pop by a client of mine who has I sold them a rental property and they're like, oh, so funny. You should drop by. You know what? The tenant just gave notice. And I was going to post it on View It, but I'm so busy. Do you think you could help with that? Great. That's a lease listing. You will do so much business at the door of your clients that it will astound you. And it's not to say that that's the reason why you're doing it. Truly, you should just be showing up in gratitude to these people. But the pop buys have been the biggest single driver of my business. And the great thing is we are now in the middle of October. Even if you're just going to pick up 25 of whatever, I don't know, go to Bath and Body Works and buy hand soap and attach a nice Christmas hand soap and attach a card to it, and drop by and just wish somebody a Merry Christmas. Whatever you pick, whatever feels right to you, it doesn't have to be expensive. They just have to hear from you. They just have to see you. They just have to feel like they're appreciated. That's it, guys. If you do nothing but pop by the people who you sold real estate to this year, that would be huge. So pop buys, huge, huge, huge impact on your businesses. Okay. Opportunities for additional contacts. And I just want to point out, with the exception of the pop buys and a little bit of a mailing, nothing I have told you today actually costs you money. It just takes time and energy, which is the thing that most of us have lots of. If you wanted to do opportunities for additional points of contact, client appreciation events are a great one. I won't go too deeply into it. It's something that it does cost you a lot more. It's somewhere in the range of like $15 or $20 per person. We're getting ready to hold the first of the 2 annual client appreciation events that we host on my team. I have a photographer. I've rented a venue. I have a photographer coming, and we've invited all of our clients to have holiday family pictures taken. It costs me about $20 per family when I work out exactly what all of the costs are. But again, I get huge, 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 huge amounts of business out of this. So we'll have somewhere between 60 and 70 families show up, spaced out one at a time. So I give them a time to show up within a 6-hour arrival window. They show up at 2:35. A photographer takes a bunch of pictures of them. She digitally edits the best and then emails them to her, to the client. Clients love it. I get great reviews. People share their photos online and tag me in it, thanks to my real estate agent, Carol, who provide, whatever. But it's more expensive. So I don't want you to feel like these client contacts that we're talking about are it's necessary to spend a lot of money to get the desired contact. It's not. But if you have a bigger budget and maybe you're somebody who's already selling a lot of real estate and just looking for a way to lean into your database to amplify what you've already got going on, client appreciation events are great. The other one that we do in the spring is a movie day where they can bring their friends and family to a movie. Cost me like $6 a movie ticket, and we rent out a theater at Eglinton Town Center, and we have people come from all over. That's another great one. And I get to stand up at the beginning and thank them for coming. And they, tell them how awesome they are all as clients. And it's such a feel good experience. But say, for example, you don't have a few $1,000s to drop on a client event, you can host a seminar. So seminars are super easy, also free. So we have some wonderful preferred vendors here at KWA, Keller Williams Advantage, as we do with all of the other brokerages through our preferred sponsor program. What's it called? Preferred partner program. Sorry. And so we've got great partners that will partner with you to create a seminar. So you want to have a seminar about how to be a first-time buyer? Great. You can get a mortgage broker to step on that call and assist with that. You want to have a seminar about how to declutter or downsize your house? We have a preferred vendor, either stagers or packers, that will help with that. You want to have a seminar at tax time, about how to minimize your taxation implications or how to file your own income tax. We have accountants in our preferred vendor program that will partner with you at no cost to you, only because they, hope to be able to solicit some business from the people that are attending the seminar in a non-salesy way. Most of our preferred vendors will already be very knowledgeable on how to run a seminar. If you guys want to reach out to me, I'm happy to walk you through it. We're hosting one tomorrow for first-time buyers, and we're expecting a pretty good turnout. You also get the opportunity to record your Zoom calls, because we do all of this on a Zoom platform. You can record your Zoom calls and then use it for outgoing marketing to your database after. So sorry I missed you at the first-time buyer seminar, but maybe you know somebody that needs this information. Here's the video. Maybe they watch it, maybe they pass it along. Even if they don't, they know that you're showing up and service them or attempting to be of service to them. What do we got next? Let's talk about the ask as we wrap up our presentation. So the ask is super important, because this is where so if we're following this wheel around, we've added people to our database. I have shown you already how to build relationships and give excellent service. Now, hopefully the referrals come to us. So we're asking for referrals, we're receiving referrals, and then we're acknowledging or rewarding the refer regardless of the outcome. So what does that look like? The ask, if we were a door knocker, I don't know what it would be if you were a door knocker, what you say when you knock on somebody's door. I only did it once in my life, and I said I was never going to do it again because it was a horrifying experience for me. But I would imagine that it goes something like, hey, are you interested in real estate? I don't even know. Jamie Lee, can you, I mean, your husband is like huge into that, and he's the king of door knocking in Aurora. He door knocked one of my listings as I was staging it and sold it before it ever even came to MLS. What goes on? What do you say? What does the ask look like when you're a door knocker?
So he learned it from me. We used to go together in and around this area, actually, when we were on Mike Clark's team, and we literally would knock on the door and say, hey, we're here with the Mike Clark real estate team and wondering if you're looking to buy or sell any real estate in the next 30 to 90 days. And people are like, well, that was direct. They don't actually say that, but a lot of people are actually quite receptive. And like you said, my husband literally walks from Newmarket to New York City and back every year by the amount of kilometers that he walks knocking on doors. And he can self-admittedly say, I don't know why, he's brutal at what you're really good at, which is getting referrals. So his major source is from asking complete strangers at the door if they would like to buy or sell with him. And yeah.
And this, Jamie Lee, is the part that I struggle with the most, because I cannot imagine knocking on a stranger's door or calling them out of the blue and asking them to buy or sell real estate. But some people are very comfortable doing it. But they are not comfortable with saying to their cousin while they're at a Christmas party, hey, by the way, like if there's ever anything I can do to help, just let me know. Like they can't say that. They are terrified at calling a past client to be like, how's everything with the house? But they will go to a stranger's door who could be like a weirdo on the other side and talk to them. But they are terrified to reach out to somebody that they have worked with in the past to just check in with them and not even ask for business, but just be like, hey, how's it going? Like, how's everything? Terrified. I once talked to a person I met at a seminar who was at one of these working by referral seminars. He was like many real estate agents, he had two jobs. One was a fire captain and the other one was a real estate agent. This is a person who for a living runs into burning buildings. I can't even imagine like a scarier job, literally, like has to climb the high rise, like in that movie Backdraft, and like rescue people off of roofs and stuff. That's what he does for a living. The most terrifying job that you could probably expect. No problem doing that. Terrified by the idea of picking up the phone and calling a past client, which is just crazy to me. Because do you know what happens when you pick up the phone and you call somebody that 3 months ago, 6 months ago, last year you sold a house to? This is how the phone call goes. Ring, ring, ring. Hello? Hi, Sue, it's Carol from Keller Williams. How are you? Oh my God, Carol, I'm so excited. How are you? I haven't spoken to you in forever. What's new with you? That's how it goes. Like 95% of the time, guys. They don't not recognize you. They don't hang up on you. If you've caught them at a bad time, they're like, oh my God, you know what? No, I'll call you back. Like, it's not a great time. I'm getting the kids into the car. But they've heard from you guys. And that's the most important thing. So this is what the ask sounds like, because I want to give you some specific asking. Now, when I ask, it's not a question. It's just a statement and I leave it there. Some people feel more direct with the actual like ask with a question mark, but this is what feels organic to me. Just a reminder that I'm never too busy to help you or someone you care about with anything real estate related. And I leave it there. That's the ask that I do. Here's another one. When people say, oh my God, Carol, you did such a great job. We're so happy. Well, guys, you know, your referrals are the highest compliment that I can receive. So if you know somebody that's interested, who's awesome like you, I'd love to work with them. That's an ask, guys. If you ever come across someone who has a real estate or property related question, let me know. I'm never too busy to help. And in all of your outgoing marketing to your clients, whether it's an email, a phone call, a text message, you can throw this in. It's super easy. Here's an ask with a question mark. Maybe this feels comfortable to you. Maybe it doesn't. Who do you know that I can be of service to you to? And maybe they actually spit back a name. Well, my cousin's looking for a house. I don't know. Doesn't feel organic to me, but to each their own, right? I want to have a quick comment on improving contact ratio and lead generation and lead conversion rates. Remember, guys, this is like planting a seed. You can't plant a kernel of corn and expect to eat corn tomorrow. It takes approximately 13 contacts before your client is able to recall you easily and remember that you're looking for referrals. You need to be consistent. You can't make 5 points of contact with your database in 1 month and then send them nothing for the next 6 months and expect this to work. It has to be consistent. And that's why so much of this, the calendar is automated that we do. If you initiate contact with the lead, you have a much greater chance of actually securing the referral. So say, for example, you're talking to someone in your database and and you reach out to them. They're like, oh, it's funny you should call because my next door neighbor is thinking about selling their house. And I told them that they should call you. And instead of being like, okay, great, I'm going to hang up with you and just sit patiently by the phone and wait for them to call, you can be like, oh my God, that's amazing. Thank you so much for thinking of me. Could you just text me their name and number? Because I'd love to just shoot them a text or give them a quick call so that they have my contact information when they're ready to make a move. No pressure. I just want them to have my contact information. If you initiate the lead, you're 75% more likely to actually turn that into converted business. And then, of course, the most important thing, saying thank you to both the referrer and the lead in person and in writing. So don't take this for granted, guys. If somebody takes the time to pass along your name and number to somebody, I always will make a point to either call them or text them and say, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for your support. You're so awesome. And then I always write them a thank you card with like a nominal gift card, 25 bucks, $5, something, just to say, thank you. I appreciate you. And people will often ask me, should I do that? Like if I get the listing? No, we're rewarding the action, not the outcome. Whether or not you actually get the listing or not is beside the point. You want to encourage them to keep referring. So what to do right now? I want to give you guys some clear action steps because I know I've vomited up a ton of information on you. First, you need to build your database. Pretty straightforward. Get yourself a CRM, log into Command. You pay for it already. We have a CRM available to you guys as KW agents. Open an Excel spreadsheet, something, build your database. You want to set up your monthly marketing calendar. Maybe you are comfortable of recording the video and sending it out. Great. Write that in. Then on the first of the month, you're going to do that. Maybe on the second week of the month, you're going to send out Market Watch. Maybe on the third week of the month, you're going to send out a listing email. Maybe there's something else that you already do or are already wanting to do. Add that in, but set it up and commit to it. Finally, prepare yourself for the holiday pop buys because, guys, again, that is a huge, huge, huge opportunity for everybody. You can pre-order that stuff, and then you can pre-order all of that stuff and have it ready for like the first couple of weeks of December. And remember, think strategically about this as well. I usually do two big holiday pop buy blitzes, two big pop buy blitzes. One is in December because I know that a lot of people are going to start thinking about real estate in January. So yes, it's a great time to thank people around the holidays. It's also strategic because that is the start of the spring market 4 weeks out from that. And I want to be the very first agent that they're going to think about in a warm and fuzzy way when they're ready to talk about real estate. The second blitz I do is usually in July or August. I send along little mustard, relish, and ketchup packages with a funny little tagline. It's punny, but that's me. And then that way, because I know that the second big push of the year is our fall market, and that keeps me top of mind. So you can be preparing for a holiday pop buys right now. Finally, do a pipeline blitz. This is where you go through your entire database and you really think about who in your database might be interested in actually doing a transaction, and you make a point to follow up with them specifically. Hey, John, I remember like when we were at that soccer game a few months ago, we kind of talked about investment real estate. Is that something you want to, discuss? Like, do you want to set up a meeting? Or here's a few listings. I thought this might be kind of what you were looking for. People are thinking about real estate all the time. They just might not be thinking about you with regards to it. So that is my presentation. And I did promise you guys that I was going to give you the opportunity to ask questions at the end, but I just wanted to close a little bit. You know, why is this important? I think that everybody on this call knows that things in our industry are changing right now. When I started in real estate in 2002, individual agents ruled this industry. We still had printed paper hot sheets. If you've been in real estate for like 20 years, you'll remember hot sheets. Guys, new listings used to get sent to the office on a sheet of paper like this. You had to share them with your client. Marketing was like getting a calendar in December from your real estate agent, if you were lucky. That's what real estate marketing was. Ours is one of the biggest industries in the world, and there are a lot of people making a lot of money at it. But we are an industry that is absolutely prime for disruption right now. In fact, there are companies right now spending millions and millions of dollars per year trying to disrupt exactly what it is we're doing. You think about Zillow, iBuyers, all of that. We as an industry have to be more professional and more strategic than ever before about building fences to protect our clients from straying. And that happens through building better relationships and showing up in service and in value to those people. Because as a consumer, zero commission sounds pretty exciting to me. And if my real estate agent can't explain to me, or it's not apparent to me how they're adding value to the transaction or showing up in service to me, I just might go elsewhere. We're also in an age where mega teams are dominating the marketplace. 20 years ago, we didn't really have mega teams. You called your neighborhood expert, who was like the lady that lived down the street, and you listed with her. And now what we have is the top 5% of agents. And when I say agents, I mean like groups of agents selling together in teams that are selling 95% of the real estate out there. So as an independent agent, it can be really hard to differentiate yourself from that. Teams that are way bigger even than my team, they're growing and expanding and finding new ways to stay ahead of the market. And they're taking your clients with them in the process. That's just the reality of what's going on out there, guys. If nobody has said it to you point blank, I'm saying it to you now. And it's not, oh, I'm not the only team out there doing this kind of stuff. If you don't stay relevant and top of mind, somebody else will. You can't outspend these teams in terms of advertising dollars or reach, but you can outservice them. You guys can develop meaningful relationships with your clients so that when the time comes that they're ready to transact real estate, they know that they already have somebody who cares about them and you are the only person that they're thinking of. I know we have like still over 100 people on this call today. A lot of you are going to go away and think about the fact that, yeah, these are all great ideas, but the reality is that only a few of you guys are actually going to do anything with all of this information. You guys just gave me 2 hours of your life and I just gave you 2 hours of mine. Actually, I spent like 6 hours preparing this presentation as well. So more than that, but I do this because I believe that there is enough real estate to go around for everybody. And I don't approach my business with a scarcity mindset. I welcome all of you guys to do what I'm doing. And that's why I've just pulled back the curtain as I promised that I would and tell you literally down to the wording of the emails, exactly what it is that I'm doing. With the hopes that you guys will follow me too, just so that as an industry, we're better and we're not going to become like the next travel agents of the world. Because when's the last time you called a travel agent? So guys, I'm asking all of you this, who out there from the 100 people that are on this call, who here is going to leave here today and is going to claim the business that is already theirs for the taking? When I teach this class in person, I always say like, put up your hand. Who's going to be the agent that turns one deal into 34 deals? Or turns 24 deals into 68 deals. Because the reality is that it is, all of us have the capacity to have these businesses. You just haven't had the opportunity perhaps to do it for yourselves. So that's my speech, guys. I've clearly had a lot of coffee today. Does anybody have any questions?
The hands are flying.
I need to plug in. Hold on for a second, guys.
Unmute yourself.
Give me just a second. So Fras, go ahead. I need to get my laptop plugged in. Go ahead with your question.
Oh, I didn't have a question actually.
Oh.
I was just putting my hand up to say.
High five. Okay, awesome. Preach.
Thanks
That's
for the high
perfect.
fives.
All right, Kiki having questions. Kiki has a question.
Yes, I'm just going to go back to, so the two, one was you had a party with local moms. How did you go about getting all their info? Like at the door, they drop your info?
Yeah. Oh, so, okay. So yeah, a couple of things. So how do we get them all together? I'm part of a Facebook group for the moms in my neighborhood. It's called the Guildwood Bad Moms Group. And it's just a place where people post and vent and stuff. And I was like, hey, let's have a moms get together. Won't this be fun? And other moms have done it in the past. They invite people over for, wine and cheese and all of that. And so a couple of things, if you're trying to solicit information from people, I don't think you want to just like do it and put them into your database. You kind of want to, make sure that they had a good relationship with you first. And so I know that they all live in my neighborhood. So I search there. And sometimes I'll just ask and be like, hey, what streets do you live on? Do you live on Tivoli? I know exactly where you live. But then the flip side of that is that you can also search backwards through Geo Warehouse. And if you have their last name, which you do because they're on Facebook, you can search and find out their address. So you can do it that way.
So also, Carol, there's a few things that COVID is good for, and getting contact information is one of them.
Also true. Yes, exactly. We had to sign mandatory disclosures. I got their email addresses.
Fantastic. So I don't know if you have any creative, because I have a database here of over 1,000 people, but they're not all complete. I have someone's email, for instance, or someone's phone number, let's say phone number, and I want their email. You call them up and you say, is there anything creative that you use to get their email?
Yeah, I think have a look, because emails are fast and easy to get, but it's hard. First of all, if put them into it. So first things first with emails, put them into a database program that allows you to track the bounce back rate so that you find out if the email is even valid or not, because you could be marketing to nobody, right? You could be sending emails to something, to an account that's been closed, and it's bounced back. So you need to check the bounce back rate. And then I would say, if you know what their last name is, you can go backwards to Geo Warehouse and search them that way. But this is also a great opportunity, because if you're marketing to 1,000 people, Kiki, that's like trying to run with an elephant on your back. That's the reality. Sometimes you need to go through your database and say, I can't show up in service to 1,000 people, but I can do an awesome job to these 450 people. If I don't know who they are, they for sure don't know who I am, right? So you might need to go in with like a pair of scissors and start trimming some of the dead stuff out of your database and work on that, because you'll search Geo Warehouse and you've got an address for someone. Guess what? They sold it 2 years ago with somebody else, and you don't even know. You're marketing to somebody that doesn't even own the house anymore. So it's a good opportunity to go through your database as you're populating it line by line, and also verifying that they're still there, and that sort of thing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Other questions? Who's got questions in the chat box? Hold on.
Somebody else is jumping in. I agree completely with what you said about when you were receiving referral and sending them that thank you before anything happens, because sometimes the referral doesn't happen, etc. You're just trying to thank them for doing what they did. So I appreciated that. But my question was, I know we're not supposed to go, hey, I'll send you a gift card, you send me referrals. That's the bad part of it. But I'm always a little grayer on sending it to them after the fact, or are we okay with that, or is there a gray area here that I'm missing on the thank yous?
No, so I think that's great. I usually will circle around when I have somebody who's like, their next door neighbor sold a house and I've already thanked them for the referral, but I did get the listing and the listing is about to close. I will usually circle back around with them, towards the close of the transaction, be like, hey, just so you know, your neighbor's house is closing tomorrow. Thank you again for that. It would be appropriate if you wanted to send them like flowers or, something a little bit bigger, or a bigger gift card, that would be appropriate. But you're right. I try to not foster a thing like the give and the get. I have only one person in my database who asks me for a referral fee when they send me stuff. And can anybody guess who that is from my referral? It's my own goddamn brother. That's the reality of it. So who's like, yeah, if I'm going to hustle for you, it would be, anyway, that's the reality. And he doesn't even send me that much. And I'm like, to be clear, Mike, I have people who send me 10 times as many referrals as you do. I have some clients that send me like a referral a week, and they don't ask me for anything. They're just happy for me. And they do a good, and they think I do a good job, and they're happy to pass my phone number along. So no, I do not refer in a big way in terms of like, here's a check for money, but it is appropriate later on to follow up with them.
Maybe he could take the classes and then he could come and work for you, and you could pay him to do those searches for contacts and leads.
He's a lawyer. He works at a big downtown.
Oh, so he's making more than enough. I wasn't sure if I was even going to be able to make it today, because I was doing yard waste bag pop-by drop-offs today.
Love
Business
it.
card, dad joke attached. And while we're finishing up, I looked down and I got a messenger that says, hey, Shannon, random question for you. House in my street just sold, and was curious if you had the ability to look it up for me. And I thought, that's why I'm doing it in the first place. And he says, yeah, because my parents were curious about it. And then it's okay. It's not about the yard waste bag. It's not about anything else. It's just being top of mind.
That's exactly right. And showing up in service. So without necessarily expecting anything back. Okay, what else? Questions. Blah, blah, blah. I'm just looking through here. Great. Well, thank you for all of the kind accolades, guys. So awesome. Does anybody else, can everyone show the last slide? What was my last slide? I don't know what it was. Maybe the questions, I'm not sure. We'll share the entire presentation. So yeah, anybody else? Questions? We've still got 94 people. This is the opportunity. So not even about the presentation. You want to ask me a question about real estate, about my personal life? I told you that I would be an open book today. So I'm happy to answer whatever you have. Nobody else. Okay. Are we good?
Looks like
I
we're good.
have a question here.
Oh, sorry.
My
Yeah.
camera's not working today. I don't know why.
No problem. You should go ahead.
So sorry, I can't see you. I just had a question. When you're doing the pop buys for Christmas or the other time you do it during the year, are you doing you do mostly referral based, but do you do leads, like online leads, or if you have leads in your database, are you doing it for those people as well, or picking certain people that you've already done business with in the past?
So when I used to teach a version of this course, I also talked about sorting your database, but in terms of like A pluses, A's, B's, and C's. And I took that part out because the course is already long enough. And that's kind of higher level people, like start working by referral and then you can start ranking. So to be sure, there's people in my database that send me a ton of business every year or who buy and sell multiple times with me throughout the year. And I'm not giving them the general pop by. I do something like a little bit bigger at Christmas. I send them like $150 gift basket. And I probably have about 20 people in my database that drive a huge amount of your business. And so yeah, I don't do the same thing for everything. And if I have like a really solid lead that I haven't done business with that, you know, it was like a sign call and I'm excited to start working with them, but maybe they still need to get their financing in order, then yeah, absolutely. I'm going to pop by and see them at Christmas. Why not? It just builds the relationship, right? And sorry, the second question was, am I farming anything as well? So my business model is built 95% on referrals, but I do have a secondary farm area that I started in my own neighborhood, more actually out of anything else, because so many of those people, as I started connecting to other moms in my neighborhood when I had kids, that so many people in that moms group were in a particular geographic area, and it made sense to also market to that neighborhood. But I don't pay for conventional advertising the way that other people do, where I'd be sending like mailers and stuff. I do a mass pop by to the entire farm area twice a year. And I also just did leaf bags as well to my farm area. But the idea is to build relationships with people, not to try and solicit listings.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Any other questions, guys? I just want, and for anybody who's any doubter in here, Carolyn Morgan's on my team, and Carolyn has worked in real estate for a number of years, but is new to real estate from a sales perspective. And she's been with me since January and has a wonderful, I think has done a wonderful job.
I think one of the first things that people have to get focus on to do this is to get out of your own head. So I used to say to Carol, nobody wants to see or hear from me that much. It's like, I don't want to see or hear from anyone that much either. But it's not like that. It's, you know, they can choose to read your email or they can choose not to, but they still see it in your inbox. They can, you know, choose to pick up your phone call or just reply to you with a text, but they still see that you've called. And usually you get a very, almost always you get a, oh my God, thanks so much. I like to do pop buys that are really small. I take like a package of hot chocolate and put, hope you're keeping hot this summer or keeping warm, there's some funny phrase on it too. And I knock and I drop. And if they're home, I talk to them for a few minutes. And the way to not get stuck at a door talking for, you know, if people really would like to talk and you're like, I just don't have the time, literally, is you're on a roll, you're driving, you're moving, and they understand that you have to keep going. So, you know, there's ways to do it without feeling like, oh my gosh, it takes so much time. It takes so much time. It does take time and energy. Absolutely. But I did a showing at a house the other day, and the house had only been vacant for 10 days because I specifically called the agent after to say, how long has your house been vacant? There were 21 real estate agent postcards in their mailbox, 21 in 10 days. So what are they doing with all those? They're not looking at 21 individual postcards, that's for sure. We all know where they're going.
That's a great point, Carolyn. Like I work in real estate, and when I open my mailbox at the end of the day, and there's like literally from 5 or 6 different farm agents that are farming my neighborhood, I don't even look at them. And I work in real estate. I just like literally stand over the recycling box and do this until I look for personally addressed mail. And should there be a personally addressed note card from somebody else, I would be grateful for it. Actually, my financial advisor over Thanksgiving dropped off a beautiful charcuterie board for me. And like this particular financial advisor, I don't have a ton of business with him, but my God, how thoughtful was that? I was like, oh my God. And I called him and I thanked him personally. And it was wonderful. And it probably didn't cost him a lot of money, maybe $20, but like the next time I'm referring a financial advisor or have money to invest, I'll be honest, I'll probably think of him first because I didn't get anything from the person I have most of my money with. So
yeah.
Can somebody explain to me how the Design Line magazine works? Yes, the Design Line is a magazine. You can Google search it or send me an email, and somebody from Allison or Danielle will send you the contact information. It's a magazine that is paid for by the advertisers. Here's a copy of it. that the advertisers pay for the copy, and they have some articles in it as well. And in order to increase distribution, they will sell copies to anybody who wants to buy them for 50, depending on the quantity, anywhere between 50 cents and $1. And so I buy 1,100 copies and I mail them to entire database in the mail in an envelope. And it's stamped to say the Carol Foderick Real Estate Group on the bottom. And then I write a little like cover letter about what's in the magazine and about what's happening, and a reminder that I'm always here for their referrals. Can you talk a little bit more when your contacts try to negotiate your commission down? How are you competing with the 1% listings? Here's the great thing is that, like, remember at the beginning when I said I got to fire the people I don't like working with? The nice thing is, I think we can all appreciate this. You ever like meet a really miserable person and then you realize that their wife is also a miserable person and everybody that they know is also a miserable person? Miserable people tend to attract other miserable people. And so it's been my experience that when you meet a really great person, that person will also know other great people. So the nice thing about working by referral is that you tend to attract like-minded people because they tend to know it tends to be those type of people that are already working with people in your database. I think, Tanya, the question of commission is a whole separate thing, because if it's just a race to the bottom, you may not win that, and you may have to be prepared for that. That's about knowing your value and the cost of the listing services that you're providing, and understanding that if you're just trying to chase it to the bottom, you may not win that one. But it would be very rare in a circumstance where I've been referred by somebody to have them try to negotiate commission down, because in most cases, they have sometimes already even asked the person who referred them how much I charge them, and they know going in exactly what my fee is. But I think that question of commission, commission competing is one that's it's a bigger question outside of working by referral. It's just how do you know your value? And actually, KJ Lork is the best that I know in terms of scripting. And I saw KJ was on the call earlier. If she's still here, we should have another seminar, just KJ Lork telling you how to, value proposition your clients, because there's nobody else better than her. Any other questions, guys? Oh, one new message. Hold on for a sec. Oh, Design Line Teams. Thank you, Danielle, for popping that up. Yep, there you go. If you're interested, it's in the contact.
Amazing.
All right, guys. Well, thank you. 3 o'clock, we'll wrap it up. I'm losing my voice. And if anybody has any questions or has something personal to ask me and you're not comfortable sharing here, you can always reach out to me by phone, email, text, whatever.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. Every time you speak, it's like inspiration in the mind.
I'm not nervous anymore, guys. Look, I'm not shaking anymore. So I grew. So that's positive. We can all grow.
Awesome. And I hope everyone took a lot from that. And the key thing is put it into action. So even 2 things from what Carol said, put it into action and start making your plan. Now is the time to really implement these things for next year. So thanks for joining us today on KW Sessions for Carol Foderick.